Hello, welcome to my video lecture. Myself Krishna Prasad DS, working as assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science, Canara Engineering College, Dakshin Kannada. So in this video, I'm discussing about module 4 of data communication subject as per the 18th scheme of VTU, Visvesvaraya Technological University. In this module, we will be discussing about data link layer of OSI model or TCP/IP model, and data link control, media access control. These are the two layers of data link layer, and IPv for addressing and subnetting. So even though IPv for addressing and subnetting comes in network layer, so we will be discussing these things in the module 4 itself. So we'll go on. First, we'll discuss the introduction about the data link layer. So where we'll be discussing some fundamentals of data link layer, that is introduction, and what is the need for link layer address, and the ARP, that is address resolution protocol. What is the need for address resolution protocol and how it works. So first of all, we will discuss how does the communication happens at data link layer. So we know that data link layer is the second layer of OSI model or TCP/IP model, whichever model you take. And if I consider the diagram, all the diagrams or the contents are taken from the prescribed textbook of VTU, that is data communication and networking by Farozan. In this diagram, we can see we have different networks where I will be having this system as source and Bob's system as receiver. So if I consider LIC is sending a message from his system to the Bob's system, the data link layer will be logically connected to the next system, that is data link layer of the next system. So here the allies has to forward the data from his system or his network to this network. Okay, whatever we see the router 2, that is R2, that is why the data link layer of the allies system will be logically connected to the data link layer of the R2. So like that, the data link layer of the R2 will be logically connected to data link layer of R4. Okay, so this R4. So like that, R4 will be connected to R5, R5 will be connected to R7, and R7 ultimately it will be sending the message to the Bob's system. So if I consider the Alice system and Bob's system, only one data link layer will be working. But if I see the routers R2, R4, R5 and R7, so two data link layer will be working. So why? Because one is to receive the data and one is to send the data to the next link. So that is why, remember, in the intermediate nodes, so I will be having two data link layers. Okay, even though it is single data link layer, but it performs two different activities. Okay. So this simple network, okay, how the data link layer communicates in the networks. So next we'll discuss what are nodes and links. So normally in networking, whenever we discuss the concepts, so we name the host or devices as nodes, and the path whatever we connect or we connect two different devices as a link. So normally we consider here, if I consider this network, so here I have three local area networks, okay, which is connected to each other. I will be considering each device as nodes. Okay, so if I consider 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that is why there are 6 nodes. Okay, so normally we call end systems as host and intermediate node as nodes, but even we can also call all the devices as nodes, and we connect two nodes using a link, that is nothing but communication medium. So that is why in networks normally we call device as nodes and path between them we call it as link. Okay, so next, if at all we want to see the services which are given by data link layer, the first foremost service is node to node delivery. So we call it as node to node delivery or host to host delivery. Host to host delivery. So normally whenever we take the message from one device to another device, so the message has to travel through so many devices. So that is why every device has to communicate the message to the next device. So this host to host communication happens because of data link layer. So that is the first service given by the data link layer. Apart from that, we have, these are the important services, that is framing, flow control, error control, access control, and congestion control. Even though congestion control normally is given by the network layer or transport layer, so normally it does not comes under the uh, data link layer, but these are the important functionalities of your data link layer. Now, what is host to host communication? So we'll discuss with an example. So if I consider this diagram, I am taking three devices, okay, where I will be having a source and I'll be having a destination, and this is connected with a single router, that is intermediate device. So initially the datagram will be coming from the upper layer, which is called as network layer. So we know that above the data link layer we have network layer. That is why data link layer will be receiving the data, that is datagram, from the network layer. So here we'll be having a network layer. Okay. So above the data link layer we'll be having a network layer. So this network layer will be providing the or transferring the datagram to this data link layer of the source. So now we can say that this data link layer of the source will be providing the service to the network layer of the sender or source. So that is why always remember, so at the sender side it is, we know that it is top down approach, that is data comes from upper layer to bottom layer, that is application layer to physical layer. That is why, so the network layer sends the datagram to the data link layer. So that is why data link layer provides the services to the network layer. So what is the service? So these are the service. Okay, the first one is host to host delivery. So that is the datagram whatever sent by network layer will be sent to the next device or next node. Okay, here the next node is this router. Since we do logical connection, that is why we representing in terms of dotted lines, okay, logical link, and the actual path, that is communication medium, is depicted in the dark line. Okay, we have represented in dotted lines because it is a logical connection. So we don't have a direct link between data link layer of the one node to data link layer of the data link layer of the another node. It is logically connected. So now what exactly this data link layer does? So whenever it receives the datagram, it attaches the header or trailer or both. Okay, that is control information required to transfer the data from one device to another device will be attached. So here I consider this is the header which is added to the datagram before it delivers the data to the next device. So we'll see what are the content of these headers later. So as of now, we'll consider only the header. So this header will be attached by the data link layer of the sender, and that will be forwarded to the next device or next node. So obviously this data link layer will be forwarding the data or sending the this datagram, or we call it as frame, right? We call it, after adding the header and trailer, we call this the data in data link layer as frame. So that will be delivered to the physical layer of the sender. So that physical layer will be transferring to the next device. So that will keep aside as on now. So we'll discuss only the data link layer. So data link layer will be forwarding the data to the next device through physical layer. So once this router receives the data or from physical layer, so it process the header. It processes the header and it identifies the next device where it has to forward the datagram. So that is why, as I told in the previous diagram, this router or intermediate device will be having two data link layer. Okay. So this data link layer will be receiving the datagram from the physical layer and it process. So next it modifies the header. Okay, modifies the header and it forwards to the next device. So now if I say the content of this header and the content of this header is different. Okay, that is why we call it as frame type 1 and a frame type 2. So here we are detaching and here we are attaching the new header. Okay, that is why we call it as sometimes we call it as encapsulation, adding of headers, and decapsulation, removing of headers or trailers. Okay, so that is why in the end nodes, so sender and receiver, so that is sender performs only the encapsulation, that is adding of header, and receiver performs only decapsulation, that is removing of headers. But in the intermediate nodes, since it has to forward the data to the next device after receiving from the previous device, first it has to do decapsulation and here it has to do encapsulation. Okay, so that is why the intermediate nodes performs both encapsulation and decapsulation. So if we consider the categories of links, there are two types. One is point-to-point link and broadcast link. Now what is this point-to-point link? Now if I consider a device, if I consider two devices, so if I deliver the data only to this device, then we can say that this is point-to-point link. Okay. But if I have two more devices or more than two devices, okay, so this may not be a point-to-point link sometimes. So this can be a broadcast link. So broadcast link means the link is shared between all the devices, okay, in the network. So that is why we categorize the link as point-to-point link and broadcast link. So point-to-point link is dedicated only between two devices. Broadcast link is shared between all the devices. So just remember this, the differences between point-to-point link and broadcast link. Okay, so we have seen that services of there are different services given by the data link layer. Okay, so we have discussed what is host to host communication and framing. Okay, framing is one of the major services given by the data link layer. The framing means we are encapsulating the data which is received from the network layer with the help of header and trailer. For example, consider this is the datagram. This is datagram which I received from the network layer, and the data link layer of the device will be attaching header and trailer. It will be encapsulated with the datagram will be encapsulated with header and trailer and some more information. So this encapsulating the data link layer, we can say it is a framing. So this framing is done by the data link layer. So next is flow control. So what is this flow control? So whenever a network, so consider this is my network with so many other devices. Okay, and I am connecting this network each other. So consider I will be transferring the data from this network to this network. So consider this is the intermediate device which connects, normally I will consider it as a router which connects to network. Okay, so consider this network performs in 100 Mbps speed. The speed of this network is 100 Mbps, and the speed of this network is 500 Mbps. Mbps. Okay, that means, so this network will be delivering the data in this speed, but whenever I receive the data in the same speed, so the receiver or the devices may not be uh, having enough space to store that many data for processing, that is buffer space we consider. Okay, so that is why, so whenever this router delivers the data, it has to control the flow. So now the data rate should be reduced so that the packet will not be lost whenever it is received by this network. So that is why we have to do this flow control to reduce the loss of data. So that is also done by the data link layer. More about that we'll discuss in the future classes. And next is error control. I think error control, we have you have seen how the error is detected and corrected in the previous module, that is module 3, under error detection and correction. So that is also done by data link layer. Of course, it is done by all the layers. Okay. So even in data link layer also we perform error control and access control. So this access control normally we have whenever we have multi-point connections. Okay, so it is not required whenever we have only point-to-point connection. Only whenever we have multi-point connection we require this access control. So again we will discuss more about this, what is this access control, in the future classes. So just remember all the some points regarding all these services. Okay, so now all these services whatever given by the data link layer is done based upon two sublayers. Okay, so here data link layer is divided into two sublayers. One is called as data link control sublayer and second one is called as media access control sublayer. So if I consider data link control, it is same for point to point link and broadcast link. Okay, there is no differences in the implementation of data link control and data link control sublayer of the point to point link and broadcast link. But if I consider the media access control, in short we call it as MAC, media access control sublayer. So if I consider the media access control sublayer for broadcast is different from this, that means we require this media access control sublayer only for broadcast link. It is not required for point to point link. Okay, that is why I told, so access control is required only whenever we have broadcast link, that is multi point connection. It is not required whenever we have point to point connection. So entire services is divided between this data link control and media access control. The main job of this media access control is access control, and data link control performs error control and flow control. The next is link layer addressing. So we know that we have so many different types of addresses in networking. So like IP addresses, MAC addresses, or physical address, uh, port address, and service point address. These are the different types of address. Now if I consider link layer address, it is nothing but MAC address. Sometimes we call it as MAC address or physical address. So all are same. What is the need for this address? So if I consider this network, so again I'm considering 3 different networks, or we can say it is a link. So if at all I want to send the data from Alice system to Bob's system, so how the data will be delivered from Alice to Bob, and how I will be using IP address and link layer address or MAC address. So even if at all I don't have link layer address, so how we can it is not possible to deliver the data only with the IP address. Why? Because when the IP addresses will be added at the sender, and it will not be changed until it received by the actual receiver. Okay, that is why. So here comes the link layer address for performing node to node communication. So first of all, the data will be delivered from this Alice system to this router 1. Okay, before we deliver, we'll see how the addresses will be added. So consider this is my actual data. Okay, and for this data, network layer will be adding the network address of the sender sender and network address of the receiver. So normally the network layer will be attaching the source address first, next comes the receiver address. Remember this. Okay, that is always IP address of the source will be added, next IP address of the destination will be added. Okay, so order of address. So whenever we add IP address, first source address, next destination address. And here L1 and L2 are the link layer addresses. Okay, so if I consider L1 and L2, so L1 is the link layer address of Alice system, and L2 is the link layer address of this router 1, one of the connection of router 1. So since this Alice system is connected to this R1 through L2 link, so that is why we have given L2 is the link address which is added to this frame, that is nothing but the next device which receives the frame. Okay, and order, whenever we see, always the receiver link layer address will be added first, and next we will be adding the source link layer address. So we have to remember this. Okay, so after adding all these things, now here, so this much is the entire datagram whatever I received from the network layer. So for this, before I deliver to the next device, the data link layer will be attaching the receiver link layer address and source link layer address. So then it will be delivered to the next device. So now according to this address, so this frame will be received by the L2, so that is this router. Okay, so now whenever I receive the frame in this router, so it has to deliver to the next device. Okay, so it has to deliver to the next device, ultimately it has to reach to the Bob's device. Okay, so here what it has to do is it has to change the link layer address. So always remember, the link layer address, or whatever we call MAC address, will be changed in every device. The sender and receiver MAC address or physical address will be changed in every device, but IP address will not be changed. Whenever it is added at the sender, actual sender, it will not be changed in the intermediate nodes. Only the physical address or the MAC address will be changed. So here whenever I receive the data at R1, so before it delivered to the next R2, that is next device, in the path where we are going to deliver the data, I will be changing the link layer address. So here what happens, so till here it is the same, if you see. Okay, till here it is same. So N1 is the network address or IP address of the Alice, and N8 is the network address of the Bob, that is receiver, which is added by the network layer of the sender. So that is why that much is not changed. But if I see the link layer address, it is changed. Okay, so who is the sender? This R1. Through this link we are sending the data. That is why I will be adding this L4 as the sender link layer address, and here, and this message will be delivered to R2 through this L5, this link. Okay, this is the link which is connected to the router. That is why this L5 is the receiver link layer address. So first receiver link layer address will be added, next source link layer address will be added. So then it will be delivering data. So now data will be coming to this router. So this router ultimately it has to deliver to the Bob system. So that is, R2 is the default router which is connected to Bob system. So we'll see what happens here. So the data link layer of this router receives the data from this R1 and now it has to change the address. Which address? Only the link layer address. So through which link it has to deliver it, whenever it wants to deliver the data to Bob's. So this L7. So now L7 is the sender link layer address and this Bob system is connected to L8. So that is why L8 will be the receiver link layer address. So now I will be changing the content of this header from L5 to L4 to L8 to L7. So here L8 is the receiver's link layer address and L7 is the sender link layer address. Okay, so ultimately the frame will be delivered to Bob system. So this is how we will be using link layer address for performing host to host communication or node to node communication through data link layer. Okay, so if at all we want to see the types of addresses, so there are three different types of addresses: unicast address, multicast address and broadcast address. So depending upon the number of receiving devices, they are divided as unicast, multicast and broadcast. So whenever I consider unicast, the frame is delivered to only single device. That means the address represent only one device. Okay, whenever I say multicast address, we are considering some group of devices. Okay, that is more than one. It can be two devices. If I consider I have 10 devices in a network, it can be more than one devices. It can be two or three or four, any number of devices. So whenever I consider group of devices, then we will say the address is multicast type of address. If at all I consider all the devices as my destination device, then I will be sending the frame to through broadcast address. So that is why depending upon the number of devices or receivers, we divide the address into unicast, multicast and broadcast. So this is an example of physical address, how actually it look like. So here we consider the Ethernet address. So the length of the Ethernet address is 48 bits or 6 bytes and it is represented in hexadecimal values. Here there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bytes. So each are 1 byte. Okay, 4 plus 4, 8 bits. So total 48 bits. Now how do we represent or how do we identify whether the given address is unicast, multicast or broadcast? The length of the MAC address or physical address depends upon the protocol whatever we use. So if at all we use Ethernet as a standard, then we will be using 48 bits of MAC address or physical address. So now to identify whether it is a unicast or multicast or broadcast, so we consider the least significant bit of the first byte. Remember, to identify the type of the address, we have to see or we have to consider the least significant bit of the first byte out of 6 byte address. Okay, if my least significant bit of the first byte is 0, then the address is unicast address. If my least significant bit of the first byte is 1, then it is a multicast address. If all the bits of my address is 1, okay, if all the bits of, that is entire 48 bits are 1, then it is broadcast address. We can also say in another way. So we can say that whenever my least significant bit of the first byte is 0, then always this number will be even number. Okay, this number will be 1, and whenever my least significant bit of the first byte is I'll say once again, if my least significant bit of the first byte is 0, then we can say that the number is even, and whenever my least significant bit of the first byte is 1, then it is a odd number. So this will be odd number. So that is why if this number is odd, then we can say that it is multicast, and whenever this number is even, then it is unicast. So that also, that like this also we can say, or we can identify it. So the least significant bit of the first byte defines the type of the address. If the bit is 0, then the address is unicast, otherwise it is a multicast. Okay, and if all the bits are 1, then it is broadcast address. The broadcast destination address is a special case of the multicast address in which all bits are 1. For example, we'll see how we are identifying. So here they have given three different types of address. So we have to identify whether they are unicast, multicast or broadcast. So if I consider the first one, okay, so you can see this number. Okay, so A is represented in hexadecimal value. So A is nothing but 10. So it is a even number. So that is why it is a unicast address. And if I consider this example, this is 7. Okay, if you represent in a binary number, you can get to first bit of the first byte, that is least significant bit of the first byte will be 1 here, and in this case it will be 0. Okay, in simple we can say whenever this is odd, it is a multicast address, and whenever this is even, it is a unicast address. So in this case it is a odd number, so that is why it is multicast address. And in this case, that is third example, entire address is given in terms of f, that is entire bit is 1, 48 bits are 1, that is why it is a broadcast address. So like this you can identify the given address as unicast, multicast or broadcast. So here I end up the video. So in the next video we'll discuss about the ARP protocol, that is address resolution protocol. So by this I end up the video. Thank you for watching.